So what happened?
This is my husband, Dave.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hey, how you
Steve,
doing?
how you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Hey.
You've been always having issues with the neighbor? Always?
What? Tell him the story about what he did before.
Oh, we got when we just moved in like recently within a year. We've gotten 2 packages to the house like by accident. I went over there like a nice guy with my wife, introduced ourselves. Hey, we're the new neighbors. You got this. We got this package that was yours. You know, I don't even like to talk to neighbors normally. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be a nice guy. It's a nice community. And I was driving down the block one day, and this guy went. He was like screaming. Bah, 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 bah. I'm like, what the hell's going on with this guy? So I pull into my driveway here. I park my car, and he pulls up over there, and he's like screaming, "Hey, asshole! Slow the fuck down when you're driving down the street." Never, I mean, you think the guy would come and say, hey, can I talk to you a minute? Yeah, can you slow down? I don't know if I was going too fast. I don't even, I might have been, he could have said it nice to me. I'm like, he's like, yeah. He goes, I might be your neighbor, but I don't need to be neighborly. So you know what I said? I said, you know what? He's like, what? I said, go fuck yourself and get off my property. Because I'm like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. If he's gonna talk to me that way. And I never said another word to him. Never said another word. These guys came to do an interview with me, and they must have gone to his house, and right?
Actually, we're coming out, I'm the Big Lenny, coming on the famous Dave Palumbo's podcast, coming from Delray Beach, Florida. We used a GPS, pulled up in his driveway, got out of the car. I just says, this is so-and-so address. And I said, we're looking for Dave Palumbo, the barber. He goes, I don't give a shit what he is.
At the wrong address. He was very confident. And we left.
You think they're drunk? You think he was drunk? Because they think he was drunk.
Totally. There's an incident with that?
He wanted us to, he was trying to instigate something, so probably so he can pull something out of
What's his beef?
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. So what? So he called the police?
Yeah. He went to the wrong
For what?
He just concerned.
About what though?
We get calls like this all
He thought Big Lenny was there to get him. That's the greatest. Big Lenny is scaring the neighbors now. This is the greatest. This might be the greatest story I've ever heard.
When you invite Delray Misfits to your house?
That's right. Yeah. They thought Big Lenny was there to do him in.
All we gotta do is just squash him, make sure everybody's all right.
Nothing happened. They went to the wrong address. All right. All right, man. Guys, sorry that they're wasting your time. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
All right. What? Big Lenny. Can you believe it?
I can't. I never
Come over here out of the sun. Big Lenny, you scared the neighbors so much so they called the cops.
I walked right back in the car.
Well, the guy's a complete asshole next door anyway, so
but
obviously.
What is his legitimate gripe?
He's probably a paranoid nut who stands there all day looking out the window.
Because he had to ask us more than once, so he got a wild hair up his ass to call the fucking police. He's a jerk off.
On what grounds?
Yeah, I know. You sure you didn't even rough him up?
No, he was going to take a leak on the side of the house, but he's thinking you didn't do that.
Maybe that had something to do with it.
Oh, man.
That may have
Lenny scaring the neighbors. Welcome back, and we're here sitting in the studio with Lenny Person. And Lenny, as you can see, I wasn't kidding about my neighbor. He certainly is an absolute lunatic.
I never saw anything like that, calling the police for absolutely no reason.
You're terrorizing the neighborhood already. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about, because I was asking about your health. The doctors obviously don't want you on the anabolics anymore, right?
He was very general. Stop taking whatever you're doing. Absolutely no knowledge.
Very cookie cutter.
Correct.
All right, now I want to bring up something, because you mentioned to me in the break something about you've become sort of a cult leader in a sense for the misfits out there. The misfits of the world, you have people calling you from all over the world. Tell me about that.
Well, they got a hold of my number accidentally, and I've been receiving probably over 100 phone calls, and a lot of people just hang up. But a lot of young men I've spoken to have said how much I've changed their life, and they're going on and on about their activities in life and asking me if they should quit school or whatever and this and that. I said, no, absolutely not. And a couple of them written letters and saying they're going to go on Backpage and get an escort. And I do not want people to go down that road.
Do you pay for sex? Have you ever paid for sex?
Everybody pays for sex in one way or the other.
I know, but have you legit...
Time is money.
Right. Have you ever given money for sexual services? It's in the past.
I have.
Okay, you have.
And it turns out, as it's probably better than getting into a relationship and spending 5 times the money. And it kind of, you know, I don't believe in the term girlfriend. That's a cookie cutter term.
Right.
You have a wife or you have a whore.
Okay. So what is your wife before she's your girlfriend? Your whore?
Your wife cares about you. You should, if you're able to, have a child with them,
Right.
procreate.
But before she's your wife, what would you term her then, if you don't want to use a cookie cutter term?
You should not have intercourse. I'm talking about regular intercourse with you, before you're married. That
Really?
ruins it. Now, you could play with each other, foreplay, and do all that kind
What
of
if
stuff.
the sex isn't good and then you got married?
Sex is, you find out that from the oral sex and the masturbation.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, the genitals are the same no matter what color, this and that, unless she has a defect. I mean, you're going to find that out with the kissing and the foreplay.
Have you been with any women that had defects down there?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I really haven't.
Have you ever been with a woman and found out she used to be a man? Like maybe had the sex change or something
Well, I don't really, I'm not interested in that. Actually, it was with a Cuban, one in Miami that had the operation. It doesn't interest me.
like that? No? Okay. Have you had sex with someone like that?
I have, and it just turned out to be nothing in particular. But again,
Does it work? I mean,
it does.
yeah. Did you think you were with a woman? Did it feel like you were with a woman?
Yeah. Well, to me, a woman is not so necessarily what your genitals are, but what your estrogen level is.
Right.
How your curves
I
and
mean,
your
yeah, but I just
hips.
mean anatomically speaking.
Correct.
It felt like you were with a woman.
Correct. I mean, you look at some of these diesel dykes or some of these female bodybuilders. You're going to call that a woman with the genitals like this,
Right.
probably bigger than mine is now.
Yeah.
You know, I've always told people.
Has yours shrunk since you've been off the anabolics?
It depends how fat I am, because it's like a cat. They have a retractable penis.
Yeah.
And it gets, as I was told by the Haitians, gets sucked in with your big stomach.
Oh.
But when I diet, it comes out so
Right.
much, as you can see on stage. People have asked me after the show if I had a Coke bottle in my...
Oh, really? Are you well endowed down there?
When I'm lean, yes.
Well, it should be the same size off season and pre-contest, shouldn't it?
It gets inside, as they say.
Right. But have you measured it?
Actually, I was told it's thick.
Okay.
And again, next to my huge body, it's going to look small.
Okay. I see.
So
it's-
girls see that, but when it's in them, they'll say, it's the biggest they ever had.
Okay, so it's an illusion, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. It's totally unimportant as far as sex goes.
Now, you just mentioned earlier that you have a big influence on a lot of people out there now.
Yeah.
So you're acting as a role model for people maybe who feel like a little inadequate.
Right.
And you're giving them a sense of self, a sense of a voice,
Yes.
so to speak, through this internet. And you're affecting the entire world, not just a local type of situation.
Right. A lot of problems with depression. Depression is from lack of goal setting. Let other people guide you in life. You could be, you got to learn a lot from the Hindu philosophy and religion, where they're satisfied with a grain of rice. You got to get into that mode. Chris Duffy was one of my early idols, actually, before he became too off the charts.
Yeah. He got into gay porn, you know that, right?
Yes, and I saw some of his videos.
But he's a good guy. I know.
He's not a cookie cutter, yeah, but he's just from a football player, great lifter, to I don't know what, but he was into the Bhagavad Gita, which you have to have the self-control, and you have to look at life as, a lot of people look at it as like the cookie cutter. Oh, you're going to have a good job, you're going to get a pension, go on vacation, that's life. Now, people are miserable. You have to accept pain and challenges of life like you do.
Yeah, no,
Pops are there, it's like, oh, this is great. Tragedy, everyone's going to die, car accidents, whatever life throws at you, you got to accept the good with the bad.
Right.
And learn to tolerate pain and do uncomfortable things like Tom Platz used to do, get into uncomfortable situations, Arnold.
Now, having said that, and the reason I'm asking you this is because you are a role model now. When you see that you're now facing some health situations, obviously that can theoretically shorten your life. I mean, you could have a heart attack. I mean, the risk factors associated with what you're doing, putting on excessive amounts of weight, the performance-enhancing drugs, do you say to yourself, you know what, maybe this is not what I need to be doing. Maybe I should be taking a different approach, showing these guys that, yeah, I was the biggest guy, put it out there, I was on stage, I was who I was out there, but now maybe I gotta recreate myself because I have another role, another job, another calling from above. I'm gonna be a role model for people. Right. And in order to do that, you have to kind of be responsible, which sucks, I know that, because you know, we all don't wanna have to grow up, so to speak.
But looking back, I think it might be to the usage of PGCL, maybe some food poisoning, which caused severe dehydration and rhabdo. And you know, I was double dosing on the pre-workouts, throwing in some phentermine. You know, that's not good.
No, but you know, this behavior, the drug use leads to that. Because you take the Tren, you can't sleep, you take a Xanax.
I don't do that.
Then you get a pain, you take a Percocet.
One thing I'll tell you, I do not recommend anybody do alcohol or painkillers ever. The worst things for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, they're on the medicinal marijuana bandwagon. I know certain people that like to indulge in that, and that's fine with them. But to me, it's a cookie cutter thing.
Why are you looking over to the side over there?
Maybe a Freudian slip in a certain way.
This is green.
A non-verbal Freudian slip. You know, I'm guilty, but I stay away from that because everybody jumping on the bandwagon, and to me, I think it's a demotivator.
Well, I have to ask you this because this is the most asked question that I got that I should ask you is, why is your midsection so large? I know you take pride in it, but why do you think it is?
Well, if you take
you?
a tape measure to it, it's a lot smaller than it was when I was 450 pounds before I ever used HGH, IGF, or Humulin, Novolin Rs, or Humalogs. It started getting big because I started overeating. I went on the Tony Mandarich diet in Sports Illustrated. You know, saw, whoa.
You know, Tony Mandarich is a bodybuilding photographer now.
Yes, we need to get him on here. I want to meet him.
I've had
Whoa, look at that freak. Look at that back. What a freak.
2014 Diana.
So I think that with the right nutritionals, the right supplementation, the right exercise, that you can reduce that midsection down and that you can get it under control. Because I think if you want to get bigger, right? You want to get bigger because you want to be the biggest guy on stage. What if you reduce your midsection by 10 inches, you would look 100 pounds bigger probably on stage.
Dave, I don't know if that could be done because it's solid now. I do nothing for my abdominals.
Well, I think we can. I'm going to show you the secret techniques.
I would appreciate. You know, I said this for years. We've given advice from local bodybuilders, whatever, guys that won trophies. But I said, and I even talked to Andrew Kalura about this. I want to get advice from a guy that was a freak, like Dave Palumbo, the Marcus Rules. You know, that type.
I think
I'm glad I met you.
Let's get a tape measure on you.
Okay.
We'll measure it off camera and we'll document it. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises and supplements to take, detoxification things to do to your body. And I think we can get that midsection down 10 inches. I'm saying right on the head, 10 inches.
Another concern I wanted to ask you, am I injecting things that I could inject to other areas that would avoid, because people have told me being off, you know, I probably need insulin, honestly, and actually my blood sugar count is high. And
How high?
I think I made myself dependent on it.
Right. How high is your blood sugars?
Again, cookie cutter terms, blood pressure, but I was told it's high.
Blood sugar.
I don't know, but it's high. It was considered very high. The A1C.
All right, we got to tell you.
But I just want to know: am I injecting things in the wrong place?
Doesn't matter where you inject it. You can inject in your stomach. It doesn't matter. It's going into your body.
But I'm talking about as far as my people have not commented, your stomach seems to be going down a lot.
Right.
And it's my food intake's more than normal.
Right.
But it's because I'm not injecting the
but the drugs don't
big
stay
three.
local. Yeah, but you can do it in your shoulders. It wouldn't matter.
But why is the stomach down now? Is it because of the orals?
Because you're off the drugs and you're not retaining as much fluid.
So you think, and I think too, that the orals cause a lot of that.
Well, you might have an enlarged liver. I'm saying there's a lot.
I do. I was told that, yeah.
Okay,
a large heart, large liver, which is normal.
Well, it's not normal. It's normal, maybe.
I mean, for a certain
maybe
size
you see it in
person.
bodybuilders. I think that we need to address some of your. We got to detox you. That since you're off now anyway, I think it's a good time.
No, I'm on. I actually went on yesterday.
Oh, you did. Okay.
It's my bulk cycle.
Aren't you concerned because you really didn't address any of the problems that led to your initial heart issue? You're doing the same things again.
Another question.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over, expecting a different
But it
outcome.
worked. I was a monster there. I think.
Yeah, but it worked. You also had a heart attack.
Yeah, but that was during the pre-contest phase with the phentermines and I think actually.
I thought you don't do painkillers.
No, phentermine, a stimulant, was an appetite.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. Whoa. But the thing is, what's up with those nipples? I need help with that too. But the DNP, I think, used correctly, is a very safe fat.
No, I don't think it. I think it's very dangerous, actually. Yeah, I tend to disagree. The problem with DNP, and I've said this before, is that the LD50, which is the lethal dose of it, okay, is very, very close to the effective dose. So if you go a little too much, you could have some serious problems, obviously, with it. And you get ripped anyway. You don't need to do those crazy drugs to get ripped.
Well, that's how I got ripped.
But maybe you should just diet harder. You're not afraid of pain.
I think I'm not eating enough pre-contest. That's why my legs dwindle away. For a guy my size, I don't think I'm eating enough.
Yeah, well, it depends. Have you measured your legs before and after? A lot of times people think they have more muscle in their body than they really do.
Yeah, legs are tricky, being taller too, but my calves are hopeless, but I'm going to ask you a few tricks on that.
Yeah, we can fix those up. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think the best bodybuilder of all time was, in your mind?
Who would I want to look like?
Give me, who do you like to look like, and who do you think is the best bodybuilder?
I actually like Nasser of 1998 and Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
The best all time is hands down Ronnie Coleman.
Okay. Did Phil Heath deserve to win the Olympia this past year? No. Who would you have had?
He was a smaller, big Ramy. He was a smaller, softer. He doesn't have that hard, dense look. Some people call him the Marshmallow Man.
Who do you think? What do you think about these social media stars nowadays, like Louis Marco, Vegan Gains?
They're good, but it's
Are they cookie cutters?
Most of the same approach. You can tell right off the bat whether they're a cookie cutter.
How do you identify them as cookie cutter?
By what they're wearing, how they speak, bro, this and that. Obviously the tattoos, which, once you have them, there's nothing you can do about it. I know Brad tells me all the time he wish he never got one, but
I never said that.
If you had unlimited,
Never fucking said that.
You don't like tattoos?
my father had a tattoo of a lightning bolt on his calf, and you know what he told me? He said he just did that when he played football because it probably made people think he was faster as a defensive end. He said, "Let me tell you something, boy." He says, I actually got an earring which lasted about an hour until I came home for dinner. He said, "You want to get noticed?" He goes, "Get yourself a pair of 20-inch muscular arms." He goes, "It takes guts." He goes, "Any 2-year-old girl could slather herself with tattoos. Any 2-year-old girl could take a gun and shoot somebody." It's not a Freudian slip either, but pretty much, yeah. Unless you get one of those military tattoos or something like that.
A lot of people might say that your beard is cookie cutter now because everyone seems to be having beards nowadays.
You could say that, but it's just the fact that I don't like shaving on a daily basis, and I'd rather use them for my body. Because in Florida, whether I was a bodybuilder or not, you need to shave.
Right.
You're 10 degrees cooler, and I get real hairy.
Right, but you're already shaving everything else. Why not the beard?
It doesn't affect your heat. I would call it the way the heat lifts from your body. It has nothing to do with the temperature of your body, your facial hair.
Now, people have asked me also, how did your teeth get so white?
Well, thanks to my father, I've never drank a soda in my life. I've never drank coffee. I've never drank iced tea. I could probably say I'm one of the few people on this earth that has drank more urine than soda.
More urine than soda, really? Wow.
Yeah,
do you like the taste of urine?
During certain times and certain occasions.
Yeah. What is the I guess you could say the sexual enticement there of drinking urine?
Well, when you go out and you're really hopped up, or when I was a young man before I was on heavy cycles, when I got on a heavy cycle, what I always used to say, and I spoke with my old training partner, Andrew Kalora, I say, "Andrew, you want to go out and you recognize it's a sin, you're fornicating, but you want to go out and do the dirtiest, sleaziest thing you can. Get it out of your system for a few months. Go back to training, and when you really get the urge, go and do it all out to where you're almost, soaked in sweat. You find something that really gets you off, wherever she may come from, and get out of your system. Don't justify it and say that's okay or say that's my girlfriend. Because it's not. There's no commitment there. It's just you want to go out and get off."
Good. What do you think about these, the perverts, this? I don't know if you've been following this gymnastics doctor who's
Yes,
who
Larry
abused,
Nasser.
Yeah, who abused all the women.
Are they dead? Are they
No,
disfigured?
no.
No, there's no abuse.
Oh, you don't think that's abuse? That's a very
If there
controversial
was
statement.
abuse, that girl would have kicked him in the nuts and scratched his eyes out.
Well, maybe-
Don't tell me a young gymnast can't beat that flabby old man up. They're all coming forward with their sob stories. As you can see, Scott Baio was just accused this morning by Megyn Kelly. Of course, he's a Donald Trump supporter.
Right.
Get that the hell out of here. They tried that stuff on me years ago. My next door neighbor accused me of that at the house I was living at. And the cops came. I said, if I wanted to look at her, I'd go to the Metro Zoo and look at some monkey. And he laughed, claiming that I'm looking through her window, when it turns out it was my pervert ex-con roommate.
Oh, it was. So there was someone who was.
Who had a peeping Tom history in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah.
So you can see why the parents might be upset.
Right. I don't want to hear sexual harassment. I do not want to hear stalking. Now, sexual assault is another thing.
Okay.
I never put my hand on a woman, ever.
All right. So you don't think
Unless she does it first. Believe me, I put my hands on her. Some of those Haitian co-workers could attest to in the past. But I've been celibate quite a bit.
Right.
So, and in a way that's good. You get that sexual transmutation, you know?
Would you want to get married eventually and have kids?
Absolutely. I
do?
need to.
Right. What?
Absolutely.
Don't you have to start working on yourself, though, to do that?
Financially, yes. Because I will not put into that sewer system called a public school with the brainwashing.
Well, maybe you can homeschool.
I don't like homeschooling because, again, you're keeping your kid coddled. I spoke to Brad on that, too.
Oh.
You want to get your kid in there because you want to tell them, you know, look, these are all people who are this, we're going to tell you. But the pub, they brainwash you. That whole commie program has been going on for 50 years where they talk about, oh, black history, white man's bad, the Native Americans are good, you know, there's child abuse going on, men are sexual harassment. I don't want to hear that garbage. There's sexual assault and there's nothing else. Man pursuing women or whatever. And if people can't realize that, you know, you're on the wrong planet. And I will not accept that. Another thing, maniacs, you tell them, you're better off going to jail than going to hell. Because there is a hell. It may or may not be literal with fire, but
Have you been in jail?
the overnight things, it was, you know, total disgrace.
Right.
Baby, guys come in acting like they're thugs or whatever. It's just a babysitting service. You know, actually, they brought me to jail for ordering Diana Ball, big crime from Thailand. They did a
Oh, really?
30-man seizure at that. I was living with an older couple whose son was an ex-con in prison at the time. They took a SWAT team in, over 1,000 D-ball.
Well, look at you. I mean, they probably were nervous.
I was 370 at the time. Yeah,
They sent 3 cops over here to my house.
said 20 with shields.
And they got you on the ground?
It's terrifying, yeah.
Guns pulled and everything?
Absolutely.
Really? You didn't resist, did you?
No, I was laying on the ground. I could feel my heart beating. And they tried to handcuff me, and one of the agents, oh, I can't cuff him. Is that what steroids do?
What was this?
1997, December 27th.
Wow. See, they brought you. What happened? What was the outcome?
Well, they obtained a search warrant because I was living in an ex-con's home.
Okay.
And he had a history of smoking crack. Actually, he assaulted a cop. But his parents were nice. They were Southern from Tennessee. And I worked with the guy. And I figured he's in prison. I don't have to deal with him. So.
Right.
And I paid my rent on time. They liked me there. You know. But, you know.
So you had Diana Ball sent to the house?
At the time, you had the old stop sign pink Diana balls.
From Thailand, yeah.
Knocked on the door, and their other son was staying there, and he accepted it or whatever, put it on my bed, and I was sitting there, I couldn't believe this came in. It said, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Thailand.
Right.
And I called Mike P on the phone, who was in one of the podcasts, and I said, Mike, I can't believe it's in. And all of a sudden, they smashed the door down. He heard a commotion. I dropped the phone. The dog ran to the bathroom. The one son, I could see him because you have a picture in the hallway, and I could see the reflection. He's just swinging on him. I don't know what the hell for.
Oh,
and they pummeled him to the ground. He's throwing these roundhouse rights. They threw the old lady out of the wheelchair. The old man threw him down. And they're walking like this. You could hear them going, doo, doo.
So
in a line of 6 into my bedroom. So I got on the ground. I could literally feel my heart beating. I'm like, what the fuck?
All over some Dianabol.
Brought me up, and he's like, all right, we want names right now because you're looking at 5 years for possession. That's a felony.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it? I saw it from Thailand. I saw it in a magazine. You know, it was like a Muscle Builder, it was called, a little newsletter. And he says, what else, other names do you have? Is there any stuff? I said, yeah, but some other stuff in there. So, and he said, why did you take this? Well, I said, I want to get bigger. I want to be a pro wrestler. And they looked at me, and they looked at my record, and I was like, oh, shit. And they had these two fat ladies.
So they thought they found some kind of kingpin or something like that.
Yeah, and they counted the pills. Actually, it was 996. They ripped me off. I was 4 short. And they took me up to Gun Club Road.
Maybe the brother took it.
Right, well, they found from the brother he had crack cocaine on his Coke cans, residue that he had sitting in the recycling thing. They put that on the list because they had the search warrant.
Right.
And I had shit like, what was that called? Called Ralgro?
Yeah.
I had a cartridge of that shit they put on there.
That's some nasty stuff.
Yeah, like I never had to try it. Took me out of the house, bare-chested, the old lady in cuffs. Then they had a helicopter above the house. Actually, the neighbors were looking, and the old lady shouted out, "Are she gonna put a shirt on him?" And the guy's like, "I'm a major." She goes, "With that long hair," you know, they're in disguise.
Yeah.
So they took me up to the jail, and when I'm sitting there in a holding room with 50 guys, you see all these thugs, you know, what's coming in. And they had a payphone, right?
Yeah.
And I was 370 pounds at the time. And there's guys, white guys or whatever, would get on the phone, and we were called bail bondsman or a relative. On 30 seconds, you get the hell off the phone, cracker! I need to use the phone. So I figured, oh, I better call my mother, you know, and tell her what's going on. I was on that phone for a half an hour. I didn't hear a peep.
No?
Out of those so-called thugs.
Why, they were afraid of you?
Apparently, in one of the corrections officers, he's never seen anybody on the phone that long. And you wonder why. All those
Have you had fights in your time?
I've had guns pulled on me. In Florida, nobody really wants to fight.
Right.
I've challenged people to fights.
Did you have a fight, I understand, with some guy backstage at a show? Some kind of like martial art guy or something like that?
Well, you know, he was running his mouth saying, "Oh, you bitches." He's a Cuban. It was at the southern states. Actually, Andrew Kalura was there in my weight class. And he's like, "Oh, you bitches are going to cry when I beat you on stage." I said, "You know what?" I says, people want to see a fight. I'll fight you on stage right now. I said, "I'll knock your fucking teeth down your throat." Then he started saying, "I'm from Cuba." I said, "Yeah, I love to beat the hell out of a communist." And he didn't have the guts to fight, which what the people wanted. I can't remember his name, some nobody. He won the shows. All those old nobodies. You know, that's what the people want to see. And you know what? If I lose a fight, guess what? That's motivation to come back and train.
There you go. There you go. All right, so let's see where we're at this point. You're going forward with your plan. You're going back all the gear. You're back on the gear. You're going to try to bulk up again.
I will bulk up.
And when are you going to compete again?
At the end of September, the Ruby. Now I don't know if Diana's having her contest anywhere. She's not.
So there's no way I could talk you out of this.
Talk me out,
Yeah.
Dave. I thought you were going to help me become a freak.
I'm going to help you be a healthy freak. How about that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, 2 critical questions I
Yes.
have you, and please
Yes.
give me an honest answer.
Yes.
Is the blood pressure medicine going to affect my muscle growth in any way?
I think that you could be on a better blood pressure medication.
Such as?
I think you could, but although I don't know what your arrhythmia status is, I'd have to, talk to your doctor or something like that. Because if you have an arrhythmia, they like to put you on beta blockers because it lowers your heart rate down a little bit.
So that's not considered a blood pressure, it's a beta block. Okay.
It's a beta blocker, but it will lower your pressure a little bit. But I find that most bodybuilders do well on ACE inhibitors. They're pretty much side effect free.
Is lisinopril one of them?
Yes, lisinopril. You on that?
No.
Okay, that's something that's good. That, ramipril, something like that is a good blood pressure med.
Okay.
Because blood pressure will destroy your kidneys, high blood pressure. So you don't want that, Is your kidney function high?
I drink, and people don't believe this, I do drink about 4 to 5 gallons of water per day.
Well, they say that's not actually good if you have some kidney issues because it makes the kidneys work even harder. So you don't want to overdrink.
I tell you what, I'm having problems now. I'm peeing a lot.
Well, because you're drinking 4 gallons a day.
No, I mean being off.
And you're diabetic.
What?
I'm peeing a lot.
Because you're probably getting rid of a lot of toxins now.
Especially at night.
Yeah, I pee
And
a
I'm
lot
constipated. I'm also taking Xarelto, a blood thinner, where they say is mandatory for atrial fibrillation.
Yeah.
They claim I refuse to take it, and they claim that's why I had it again, because I didn't take the meds. Any insight on that as to whether it's going to hurt my muscle?
Well,
veins?
evidently it appears that you still do have an arrhythmia issue.
Right.
Did they recommend that you get a defibrillator put in at all?
Not yet. He's assessing my status. He says it's getting better. of course, when he goes back and I'm on gear, even the blood pressure medication, I'm sure it's going to be a high level.
Yeah, well, you probably don't want to take really high androgens because that probably can incite the arrhythmia a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but how am I going to grow?
Well, I mean, you could grow with testosterone. You don't need to be taking Trenbolone like through the roof.
Well, pre-contest. What about...
Well, we have to talk, Lenny.
Actually, I started implementing pre-workout methyltrianolone injections. Have you had any experience with that? I know they call it super trend.
Yeah.
It's very toxic. I'm using 1/10 of a milliliter. Of
Why are you doing that, though?
Pre-workout.
What, you're not strong enough already?
I'm not big enough. I'm not really concerned about strength at this age.
Right.
Just the size, which of course you need the strength, you need the tension.
They come together, yeah. I mean, if you got to exhaust that muscle.
Right.
You know? Are you a believer in high a high volume, or are you a low volume guy?
Probably too much low volume and high intensity. What would you, over your experience, what would you say is the sweet spot? Do you think the 2-work set, which Greg Kovacs followed, and I learned a lot from Fakhri Mubarak. I'd like to thank him for his, where he said take 2 sets to absolute failure in that sweet spot range. You think when you go to 3 or 4, you're really...
Yeah, you're kind of going through the motions. Very cookie cutter, if you ask me.
Okay.
So
which Arnold was, ultimate cookie cutter routine.
Well, Arnold, they thought the longer you train, the better. You know, and that was...
Of course, he was heavy into the Diana ball.
Right, but he was also 225 on stage.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he wasn't a massive guy.
Exactly.
All right, what do you got below the chair there? I see you got a bag with something in it.
Oh, yes. I have some gifts. I'm sorry about your recent addition. I have some gifts for you, Amanda, and Logan. Yours,
Big Lenny shirt.
Yours is the extra large. And if
Perfect.
on the back it says just needs mopped, and you know what the story is behind that?
No, tell us what just needs mopped means.
Well, when people tell me my place is so disgusting, well, if you just mopped it would look great.
Yeah, you say that.
So the way you've been feeding Logan, I'm sure this probably, actually might be too small for him, the way he's growing.
These are actually good quality shirts too. They're not the cheapies.
Yeah, and they're very breathable. You can thank Brad and Andrew for that.
Can I? Is this a large? This one?
There's 1 extra large and 2 smalls.
No, it's 1 XL, 1 small.
Oh, 1 small.
2 small. And 1 for Logan too.
Maybe we can get Tyler into one of these. I think Tyler really is looking at this. This is a pretty big small. This must be a big Lenny small because this thing looks like it'll fit. All right, thank you. I have some gifts for you, but I'm going to give you more when we leave. But I have one here. Let me see where did I put the shirt. I think I might have tossed it when I got excited about the cops coming. Oh, here it is. We have an official old school, because I know you're old school, RXMuscle XXX. We don't have 4X for you, but you're not up there yet anyway. That's
no, these are the old days. Actually, this is a 5X, but I'm going to grow into it. Thanks a lot, Dave. I appreciate it.
What are you shooting for, 6X? You know, the biggest shirt and sweatshirt I've ever seen anyone wear was by Max Charles, believe it or not. He has a 7X sweatshirt.
What?
Yeah. He's pretty big. He's
Haitian, too.
He is Haitian, yeah.
7X is only, what, 5'10"?
Yeah. The shirt is like down to his knees, but he fills out the upper part of it.
I heard that he eats Haitian food with very little protein and drinks soda. He eats 1 meal a day.
Yeah,
is that true?
I don't agree. I think he might have done that initially, but I think now he kind of understands what he has to do, so I think he's eating better now.
Yeah, they do have good genetics once they're given the correct foods.
Lenny, if you had to give a message out to the RXMuscle audience, if you had to look at them and give them a message, give us a Lenny word of wisdom to take us out of this interview.
Well, you have to you look around, keep your eyes open until you find that goddess, as I have done in Christina Broccolini.
Hold on, before we end, what's with this Christina Broccolini? First of all, who is she and why are you so obsessed with her?
Who is she? Well, she was on a show called Mystery Hunters. I saw her on MeTV 2 years ago, just while I was eating a pre-workout meal.
You're handless here.
Mystery Hunters.
I don't want to hear the story anymore.
It's like, if you remember the old In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy.
Right.
It's like that for kids, but it's also good for adults.
Right.
And when I saw her, my jaw dropped. Not only was she the most beautiful, clean, cute young lady I've ever seen. Yeah. It's just the feeling I got from her was unlike anything other. Pure. Yeah, there she is on the top. Whoa.
Would you want her to have your kids? Would you marry her?
That would almost be too much oh, look at that face. Pure Italian from Munch. Isn't she gorgeous? And it's not a sexual thing.
That looks like Kim Kardashian.
They mix things in there, but it's just, that's not her either, but there she is. Just that Italian gorgeous, and I pray for her every night, and I watch her, and she's actually made me take the hate out. There's no hate. I don't hate anybody.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. I'm very colorblind too. I like to use the terms to teach people. Look, the old saying, sticks and stones will break your bones, you know the rest. People getting offended and using that R word, racism, which means nothing. Can you define it? You can't. It's impossible to define, and you couldn't say any human being ever was one. And I'm tired of people saying that. It just, when somebody insults you like that, take it for what it is. Laugh at it or take it as motivation.
Let's say we put 50 pounds of muscle on you. 50. 50.
Well, I will put 50 on.
Okay.
Question is,
Yeah. Let's say we do. How do you think you'll do well in competition? 50 pounds heavier?
to do well in competition is being the biggest, the hardest, most ripped guy on that stage. And that's where men's bikini or physique, whatever you want to call it, that's an intended Freudian slip. Everybody's a cookie cutter. The way they pose, wearing shorts. What kind of garbage is that? And then see bodybuilders say they want to do that, say they'll never against it, and you turn and you see them doing it 2 years later. I'd rather do this than be in men's bikini. Koth, Andrew. And you go and do it. What is that anyway? They all look the same. Does anybody look like Palumbo? Very few. He was a freak. Look at those pictures. He showed, I was talking about the injury. He's never meant to be that. And I said, well, that's where Dave came in. He wasn't meant to be that either.
Right.
And he became one of the biggest freaks ever. And they say, this so-and-so race is better. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's because they eat correctly.
Right.
And sad to say, they're eating correctly on our taxpayer dime, which I'm getting a little sick of.
There's a lot of people on disability, right, out there.
Phony
nowadays.
disabilities,
Yeah.
food stamps. I mean, we're actually taking money out of mine, our checks,
Yep.
so they can sit on their ass and fornicate. And then we got to pay for it. You're better off feeding cockroaches for what they do. They're nothing but a drain on the system.
What's the most you've ever masturbated in one day?
Actually, it was to Flex magazine in the 80s.
Oh, really? To who?
Kay Baxter, Carla Dunlap,
you
Rachel McLish.
Okay, and how many times a day would that be back in the day?
When I was 15, I didn't know what it was until I was 16. I was
right.
having wet dreams. I didn't know
Right.
what to do.
Right.
I would say I was 16. It was the Flex magazine. The one with Kay Baxter doing calf raise with a nasty look on her face.
Right.
Oh, it was great. And of
What's
course,
the record?
Carla Dunlap. But now I can't even do it.
Oh, you can't? You're impotent?
Well, on the trend, you have a fucking heart attack. I excuse the language.
So you just abstain from it?
I can't win. What are you going to do? And then obviously another thing of something I believe in, which is as good as bad points, but not so much bad, is Phenibut, which is a precursor to GHB. I'm actually on it now.
Yeah. Is that why you're so calm right now?
I think it has the opposite effect, but you can't masturbate on that. I mean,
you can't.
You get turned on, but nothing happens.
Gotcha. So is that good for you? You think it helps you stay focused on the bodybuilding more?
No, it increases your sex drive through the roof.
Okay.
And
So isn't that bad? Isn't that you have the high sex drive, but you can't do anything about
you got to
it?
transmute it. You got to take it towards the gym.
Okay.
But of course, I could feel it already, the test kicking and looking at everything. And,
Yeah.
sad to say out here, you don't have any 10-10-10s. There's a bunch of,
Why don't you
old,
explain that to him what that means?
What's a 10-10-10?
well, a 10-10, a tan 10-10 is a black girl that's a 10 facially, physically, with a 10.
With a 10 what?
10 inch.
Oh, so you like? Oh, so that's a transsexual.
It's a love-hate thing.
Right.
It's a high test thing.
Have you found?
That he loves it.
So you like black women with a beautiful face that are actually men?
They're not men. They're women with a male. They're total women. Any hint of masculine? Come on, Dave. You know what I'm talking about. You're from New York. Back in the day. Come on, Dave.
Sorry, I can't relate on this level to you.
Dave, you're not being honest. You probably put me to shame. I was in a sexaholic
Battery level low.
thing, and I was like, they told me to leave.
Yeah.
I was at a Sexaholics Anonymous meeting once, and they told me to get out.
Why? Because you were negatively influencing the other people there?
No, they told me I was fine.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, from what I was hearing.
Yeah.
They told me I was get out of here.
Well, your problem is you're just on a lot of androgens. I think that's the problem, right?
When I was young, I got into it, but that's the thing with pornography. It's very bad. Everybody that looks at RXMuscle turns to that in the meantime, and don't say you don't because you're a liar. And Dave, you look at it from time to time, things pop up.
So now you are into the trannies, huh? What if you fell in love with what if you fell in love with one of these? Would you get married to one of these trannies?
Theoretically, I could, but it
Right.
would be wrong.
Right.
But some of them are just so feminine, so passive.
Right, but would you have anal sex with them?
I can't. I'm not a receiver. I'm not physically.
But would you administer? Would you be the giver?
It's really not about that. I mean, it's about oral and hands and tongues and fingers and feet.
All right.
And armpits.
All right. Well, Lenny, I appreciate you being honest with us today, coming here, addressing the fans, telling us what you're up to. I still think that we got to really address some of these health issues with you, because I think you have a lot to contribute to the bodybuilding and fitness world, to the world in general. And I think that I'd like to see you around a lot longer.
Yes, and I'd like to see Andrew Kalura's butt right here next year.
I will bring him down here too. You know what it is? I don't want you to be a piano statistic. I don't want to be eulogizing you on my radio show.
But Dave, whether you're here for a millisecond or 40 years, it's all relative. We'll be together in eternity.
Right, but don't you have a lot to contribute still to the world? You finally made it. You're finally a star now. Don't you want
Hey,
to?
I made it the moment I said to myself, I'm not going to do what I'm going to listen to what my father said and not do what the average person does. I'm going to set my sights, like you said, with the Roger Bannister.
Right.
You set your sights so high that now everyone can be a freak.
Right.
Now everyone went in the opposite direction. You got the Planet Fitnesses, which me riding a bike means I how to use it. Luckily I got free weights on my patio. I can scream and yell. And they're trying to turn everyone into a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And that's what the NPC, promoting that all for money. So you cookie cutter nobodies, you look at a guy like me and wonder why I got, and you might be jealous. Well, that's why I'm not a cookie cutter. You figure it out yet?
Can you take us out with like a most muscular?
There's not much muscle here. This is the smallest you'll ever see me. Trust me. I've been clean for 3 months, 290. Look at that gut.
Can you vacuum? Oh, he's taking the
No, I
shirt
don't
off.
vacuum at all, the floor or poses.
Stand up, back up a little bit. You mop, right? Just a little mopping here and there.
At work, not at home. Look at that flabby, disgusting, diabetic scum physique. Well, I hope you people take a good look as I'm putting myself out at my worst. You see that? And I'm dressing like some of you cookie cutters too.
All right, let's do. People want to see this. Let's do most muscular. Ready?
Dave, I think your teeth are whiter than mine.
They might be. I bleached mine. I cheated, so
What do you bleach it with?
I just used the bleach, with trays and everything like that.
Clorox?
Lenny, my pleasure to see you.
Thanks.
Thank
This
you
is
for
the
stopping
smallest
by.
you'll see me. And thanks to you, the health.
This is little Lenny here today, and
little flabby old man.
that's right. That's right. And
Lenny.
I'm Dave Palumbo with another installment of Live With, sponsored by Species Nutrition. We're going to get him on some Species Nutrition products when we get off the air. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.